The MedBricks webcast is focused on bringing distinguished Indians and others from diverse fields of science, medicine, technology, and philosophy to learn from each other and to create a new understandings and foster new ideas related to healthcare. Hey, good morning, India. Good afternoon, England and Europe, and good evening in California. Sleepy time in California in the East Coast. Welcome you all. My name is Ramana Annamaraju, host of the MedBix webcast. We are a healthcare media channel. We present different kind of views on this one: mathematics, physics, chemistry, arts, and philosophy, to bring to create a curiosity, innovations in healthcare. That's our goal. So welcome you all. That This is a we are proud now. I thank the sponsors now that we have a very distinguished guest. He is coming on soon. His name is Dr. Uli Chettipally. He is a very well-known personality in Silicon Valley. He will be coming there in any minute. But let me introduce you. Of course, the sponsor of this webcast is Sridhar. Yeah, you all will say different
Clear,
names of the
clear, Chanani.
Chanani, and he's a turmeric innovations. He's the CEO for the turmeric innovations. He was saying that the turmeric is going to, now we all know how important the turmeric is playing a role in healthcare. So I wanted to bring you on the stage and let him say a couple of words about our sponsor, the sponsor.
Thank you, Ramana. We are grateful to you for inviting us and for MedBricks and the wonderful job you guys are doing, bringing in information, education to the globe, really. Your strong emphasis in the US and India, but you're pretty much a source of tremendous inspiration and education to people around the world. So thanks, Ramana, and so I'll get right down to it. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about uh, curcumin and turmeric.
Okay.
Turmeric has been around for, and it's been used in India for, depending on whose history you believe, but from the city of Dwarka, which goes back to 35,000 BC, where Lord Krishna was the ruler. And it's in the Bhagavad Gita, it's in different Indian texts, books. It's actually the root of all, basically what we might call the Ayurvedic medicine, which goes to its roots in early Hinduism. So curcumin is essentially from the ginger family. It's another root that looks like ginger. It is in the same rhizome family. It is a rhizome, basically, and it's highly celebrated in India. 80% of world production comes from India, including all the highest qualities and grades of curcumin. There are 45 varieties of curcumin, of turmeric. And turmeric itself, the main benefit of turmeric is in the curcuminoids. And the curcuminoids are,
Steve, let me introduce Dr. Chettipally. After that, you can continue. Turmeric, thank you for sponsoring this webcast. Let me introduce Dr. Uli Chettipally, our distinguished guest. Let me bring him on the stage. Let me introduce him a little bit. Dr. Uli Chettipally is an emergency physician, researcher,
oh,
author, and innovator. He is the founder of Silica Therapeutics, a therapeutic device company that uses robotics, VR, and video imaging for autism. He is also the founder of Innovation MD and the director of Founder Institute's Health Tech Virtual Accelerator. Welcome, Doctor. Welcome, Dr. Uli Chettipally. Let me bring him on the stage. Dr. Chettipally, thank you for joining with us. You're from my neck of the woods of the back home, I think. So tell us something about you and yourself and your background and then the journey
Sure,
up to the Sirica therapeutics.
sure. Thank you, Ramana, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on this live stream. Uh, my name is Yuli Chettipally, and as you have guessed it right, I am of Indian origin. I grew up in India, mostly around Nagarjun Sagar and Hyderabad, and I went to medical school there. And then I came to the US in the late 80s, where I went to UCLA to do a master's in public health and also did a residency in emergency medicine in Los Angeles. And from there, I came to San Francisco Bay Area to get into my first job at Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser Permanente is a large multi-specialty integrated health system. So most of my career I spent there. And about 3.5 years ago, I left Kaiser and started my own company, Innovator MD. Um, I can talk a little bit about Innovator MD. The idea behind, so most of the work that I did, I should say, the work that that I can talk about and that I'm very proud of was designing, developing, and implementing a system for clinical decision support. So it's a technology platform that I designed and built and implemented, which is currently now active in 21 hospitals in Northern California. What it does is it takes data from the electronic health record, analyzes it, and pushes back with clinical decision support to the physicians while they're seeing the patients. So that's how, that was my initial foray into technology and the power of technology to be able to make healthcare better. I then, after I got out of Kaiser about 3.5 years ago, I started Innovator MD. The idea behind Innovator MD is that physicians and other frontline workers, they see a lot of problems in healthcare firsthand, and they come up with ideas of their own on how to solve those problems. The problem is they have great solutions and great ideas, but how do you bring those ideas to the market? Physicians don't have the time. They may not have the knowledge on how to commercialize an idea. They may not have the network of people that they need to support that process. And they may not have the resources to be able to bring that idea to the market. And so that's the idea behind Innovator MD, is where we provide the education, the resources, and also the network of people. And so it is a whole ecosystem of innovation that we provide to people who are innovating. And we do 40 master classes a year. We do 10 meetups and we do 10 large conferences each year. And so we have our next big conference coming up in August, August 17th through 20th. And so we have a great lineup of speakers. Last year we had over 100 speakers and startups, and so it's a very exciting 3 days worth of fun activities for attendees. Um, so, and during this period, I come across several startups, and I do a lot of uh, um, mentoring and advising of startups. And so when I do that, I come across about 150 to 200 startups a year, out of which I bring 40 or 50 of them to present at my meetings. And also, I pick one or two startups to help them grow, either as an advisor, as a mentor, as a board member, or as an angel investor. And so I've invested in several startups, but also I've joined companies to help them grow. And there was one such technology company that was building a robotic device for neurological rehabilitation. And so when that device came to uh, uh, the market, when they released the prototype, I had my family there. I have a daughter who has autism, and I asked her to try that machine. And she tried that machine and she loved it. And when I saw that she really likes that, I I started thinking about how can I make this into a therapeutic device for autism. And so I licensed the technology, and that's how Sirica Therapeutics was born. So the system involves robotics, virtual reality, video games, and machine learning or artificial intelligence.
Sorry, I put the wrong one. This I want to. I like to do your presentation. You send me a
Sure.
presentation. I wanted to present that. Yeah, that is. Yeah, that is.
No, that's the bio. Let's go to
That's a
the other
bio.
one.
I put the
You
one.
can just show the video if you have the video link.
Not the video. That let me do the PPT for you. This is your fractals video. This is. I thought I did.
If you want me, I don't know if I'm able to present from
And
here.
yeah, that's you can able to present it. But I need to upload your um, fractals. Let me. I thought I did upload your thing. Maybe let me see if I let me 1 second. Give me this.
I have the
Yeah,
I have
that is.
I put
This is. I think your. This is your
this is my presentation.
bio.
So
That's bio, right?
yeah, that's
Let me get you while you're talking. I'll get the other one. You just keep talking, and I'll get the other one.
sure. So the idea is when you combine these technologies, you can create a deeply immersive experience for patients. And when you do that, you can help enhance what we call neuroplasticity. And the way that happens is that the brain starts building new neural networks. And if you think about autism, autism has several symptoms. One of the main things was, communication, socialization, and some behaviors that are odd. And some of the kids have aggressive behaviors. Sometimes you see odd behaviors. And so we think that when you engage a patient with a system like this, that they will actually form, um, you know, generate the feel good hormones that are needed to decrease their anxiety and calm them down. And so that is the therapeutic effect we hypothesize that will happen when somebody uses a system like this. So it could potentially decrease anxiety, it could potentially decrease aggressiveness, it can help with sleep, it could potentially help with focus. And so we think that this is a new category of therapy that could be developed. You know, we are currently planning to do clinical trials and pilot tests starting the fourth quarter of this year. And so uh, I am very excited to announce that we actually licensed the technology. Currently, we are raising a pre-seed round. So if there are any investors on this call, please contact me. And if you're interested in any way of following us, you can always connect with me on LinkedIn because that's the best way to contact me. I'm on LinkedIn, Yuli K. Chettipally. It's easy to find because there are not many people with that kind of a name. So it's a pleasure to be
Yeah,
joining
I
you.
am. I think this is the one I am. I explained a little bit. This is the right one you have. This is
Yeah,
the
that's the right one. I think that's the one I'm sharing.
okay.
So let me see if,
Can you see it?
yeah, I can see it. So I just wanted to show that, one thing is that autism is a big problem. There are about 7-8 million people with this problem, and it is increasing by about 10% each year. And it's a lifelong thing. It's not curable. And so what we came up with, I was talking about how robotics, virtual reality, video gaming, and machine learning, and that's how we put this thing together. And are you able to see this picture?
I'm on. Yeah, that is not showing up all the slides that I'm trying to get the slides there. Let me
No.
try one more time. That
Yes. Are you able to see the video?
there
I'm
is a video. You
sharing.
sent me a video.
Yeah.
I did not get the video. Let me get the. Is that video that you sent me? That okay? One second. Give me. While you're talking, let me get you the video. Yeah, I got the video. Okay, now I'm going to play that video. Okay, just
Okay.
um, that you have to play on the YouTube. Okay. So okay, I'm going to show you the video for you. Just I have to
Sure.
do this a little bit of a different way. Just give me share the screen. I have to share the screen. Entire screen, share audio. Okay, share the screen. Yeah.
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 Great.
Great.
So this
So
is
this
the
is
machine that we
that we
developed
developed
that
that
video game
video game
where the
where the
person
person
Rick
Rick
shows up
shows up
in the
in the
okay. Yeah, thank you
yeah,
very
thank
much.
you very
That's
much.
good
That's
enough.
good enough.
Doing good.
Yeah.
You could see the video, right, Dr. Chettipally?
Writing, Sue.
Yes, 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 yes,
Got it.
yes,
Yes. You.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Fantastic video. That is just yeah. That's that is Chettipally. Yeah, that is a very good video. Uh,
Thank you.
it is really Let me talk with you a little bit about that. Just let me both of us to get in. Um, I'll ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
Yeah. So that we are. Let me take this and then we are. Yeah. No. Oh yeah. That's perfect. Yeah. So, Dr. Chettipalli, this is how did you, I've been thinking about this VR upload. I used to go to Upload VR in Silicon Valley, and then Upload VR is some kind of organization there. It's a non-profit. They used to release a lot of new VR systems. I was fascinated by that's what they're doing. It is actually not only it is a VR still underutilized in my view. There is a plenty of applications because it takes the visual channels away from the all the other extra other distractions. So that is the
Exactly.
power of the VR. So you are on zero on that one. And what is the goal of the rehabilitation side of it? What you're trying to do with this one? What is a particular thing you wanted to achieve with this VR?
So when you combine this VR and the robotics, the exercise part. So the exercise machine is actually a robot. It is tracking all your movements. and it is responding to your body, and it is responding also to the video game that is showing in the VR. So it becomes a fully immersive situation where you're taken away from reality. And so you're totally immersed in it, and there is a task that you need to do. So it creates a mental challenge, and also it creates a physical challenge. So in the brain, when you connect a physical challenge and a mental challenge, that's how you learn new skills. For example, how do you swim, how do you ride a bicycle, how do you fly a plane? All those things are physical and mental challenges. When you do that, you're creating new neural pathways. Not only that, you're triggering hormones that will um, modulate your behavior. And so you will stimulate feel good hormones, and those are the ones that will, the endorphins, and also where you're also excited about things, but you're not stressed. So the stress hormones will go down and the feel good hormones will go up, and that creates a wonderful situation in your brain where you can really focus on learning.
This is a scientific, right? This is not just some kind of idea. This is a scientific idea.
No, no, it's very scientific, very deep science, deep tech.
So somehow the mind is connected with the with this kind of a environment. Our mind is mysteriously connected with it. That's what I'm going to show you a little bit. And if you're then then we can talk about a little bit after the after this my presentation. We can talk. It's very closely associated with your idea of
Sure,
VR playing a role in the mental relaxation. And
sure.
let me play that, and just yeah, fractals one. This is yeah, that's I think this is the one. Yeah. For mental relaxation, early human civilizations in the East practiced Buddha's teachings, while in the West they performed rituals. One place they mastered the consciousness through meditation, and other place they altered consciousness through psychedelics. But there is another alternative technique called consciousness hacking through technological innovation. A mathematical equation through virtual reality can offer and alter and master consciousness at the same time. A genius painter from Japan, a legendary scientist from Princeton University, and an engineer from IBM came from a different walks of life, from different times, made important contributions for consciousness hacking. Benoit Mandelbrot was hired by IBM to solve a nagging problem in the early days of telecommunications. The problem is a noise popping up while sending the data across telephone lines. Noise is an undesirable or unwanted signal that gets randomly added to the actual information carrying signal. Mandelbrot noticed a fixed pattern of noise repeating across the telephone lines, irrespective of the distance the data traveled. Mandelbrot recollected seeing a similar idea before, a picture of a giant wave on a children's spiral notebook. The picture is the original painting from 18th century well-known Japanese artist Katsushika Hokusai. It is called the Great Wave of Kanagawa. Look at any part of the great wave, it looks very similar to the whole wave. The whole contains the parts. It looks counterintuitive, but the part also contains the whole. Their artistic expression gave rise to a new concept in mathematics called fractals. Mandelbrot discovered nature's fundamental unit repeated through a geometrical pattern. The same geometrical pattern is present everywhere in the clouds, seashores, trees, and even in the human bodies. The nervous system looks very similar. to that of a lightning. The EKG of the heart signal is strikingly similar to that of a noise signal in telephone wires. If you further zoom in into the signal, the strange looking pattern emerges. The pattern is discovered by Mandelbrot, bears his name Mandelbrot set. The nature around you, the snowflakes, trees, mountains are built from these series of Mandelbrot sets. We can also observe Mandelbrot sets at the beginning of life in a woman's womb. The equation that governs the nature is spectacularly simple and displays the nature in exquisite details. Before the public understood the power of the Mandelbrot sets, Hollywood jumped in. The Star Trek movies with the fractals put the movie watchers in a trance. There is a similar, a different kind of a trance was described by an American botanist, a former New Age hippie, Terence McKenna. He frequently experimented with a psychedelic brew called ayahuasca. He chronicled his experiences through books and videos. Amazonian Indians consumed this brew on ceremonial occasions. Terence McKenna claims this brew produced visual and auditory hallucinations while his eyes were closed. He claimed his experiences profoundly changed his outlook on life.
Many of them, and they come pounding toward you, and they will stop in front of you and vibrate, but then they do a very disconcerting thing, which is they jump into your body. They jump into your body, and then they jump back out again. And the whole thing is going on in this very high-speed mode, where you're being presented with thousands of details per second, and you can't get a hold on, you say, my God, what's happening?
In recent studies by Johns Hopkins and New York University Langone Special Unit Psychedelic Medicine Center conducted studies with the psychedelic drug psilocybin in a controlled environment. The chemical compound in psilocybin is dimethyltryptamine, in short called a DMT. The studies show a single dose of psilocybin dramatically reduces the depression with the subjects of research. Interestingly, the visual hallucinations the subjects describing look very similar to Mandelbrot fractals. In the years before, Albert Einstein published a theory of general relativity, a profoundly mind-bending way of looking at nature. Mass tells space-time how to curve, and space-time tells mass how to move. Gravity is not a force, it is an illusion created by the bodies moving in space-time curvature. Einstein deployed a very different branch of mathematics called non-Euclidean geometry. We don't experience non-Euclidean geometry in our everyday lives. American Airlines pilot explained this phenomena through a tricky example. The shortest route from Dallas to Hong Kong is first Dallas to Seattle, then Seattle to Alaska, then Alaska to Siberia, then Siberia to Mongolia, then Mongolia to Hong Kong. That is the shortest route. But you see on a flat map, it creates an illusion the Hong Kong is directly right across Dallas. But if you combine Einstein's non-Euclidean geometrical concepts with the Mandelbrot fractals, watching in a virtual reality devices, it is truly a technical wonder. It produces mind-feasting, kaleidoscoping patterns where all your visual channels are fully occupied. It puts you in a trance and gives you same bliss without inducing substances. The fractals are nature's artistic expressions. Now You're in tune with the nature. Welcome to 25 milligram DMT experience without a DMT. Consciousness hacking through technology is a mass mental relaxation technique for modern humans. Thank you for watching. So, So I'm going to show you a very quick presentation now. After that, I will be bringing back Dr. Chettipally, and I will ask him a couple of questions. This is a how this thing. So psilocybin is not the answer. VR, virtual reality, is the answer. I think it's going to replace the all these substances, induced substances. So I think the future is going to be VR visualization techniques stimulus. So there is a story on Medium appeared. Her name is Erin Balweischer. She is she is a she was diagnosed as a post stage 4 cancer with breast cancer. She has two small kids, and then she's very worried about it. She had consumed by dying thoughts. She's terminal cancer. She's worried constantly about the dying thoughts. So Dr. Sunil Agarwal is an Indian doctor like Dr. Chettipally in Seattle. He wants to prescribe psilocybin to her, but the government said that no. The reason is it is a Schedule One drug. That means there is no medical usage. Is there is banned. You cannot use that drug because we had a very, to some extent, is understandably so, in the psilocybin is actually a DMT, is a dimethyltryptamine. It is a mushrooms he call that is a drug they wants to. It's a lot of studies are being done in the John Hopkins and other places. But Trump administration passed a law. It's called Right to Try Act. It is actually allows even unapproved drugs to try for the end stage patients. But still, the agencies in the government, they're not very they're kind of reluctant to enthusiastically support it because understandably so some extent because it can leak into the recreational side and can cause the problems, and that's they're worried about. So there is a law that is actually Dr. Kumar and Erin filed a federal lawsuit in the state of Washington. So so right now, not only Erin, the whole world is suffering the mental health crisis. This pandemic brought a structural and physiological changes in the body. I think it's creating a lot of problems. Mental health crisis is going to be huge. It's not the economic crisis. Mental health crisis is going to be is a huge. So long COVID supply chain. If you stop a couple of months of supply chain, it can manifest into racial violence, school violences, financial burdens can create, suicides are increasing. So we have a lot of problems with the mental health catastrophe. We are at the in the beginning of the mental health catastrophe. So what is the government's can do? This is a worldwide. It's not just any. And if you actually worldwide, World Health Organization say 1 billion people out of 8 billion people have some kind of a mental disorder. It is a very scary statistics. But what are the solutions they have? Governments, mass solutions, there are not too many there because one is a stigma, because mental health, in other countries considered as a weakness. So it's kind of a not it's a very first one is stigma. The second one is access to people, doctors like Chettipally, and psychiatrists, psychologists. It's hard to get them. It's not easy for everybody to access, particularly if you live in the rural areas and if you don't have insurance companies. That's a lot of problems in the access side. So let me bring you. Yeah. So it's a big problems in this one. So there's not too many solutions there. So what we want to do is, yeah. So let me. Where is that? Yeah, one of seven. It is my. I'm looking for my thing. It disappeared. My PowerPoint. Oh, yeah. Stigma right here. Okay. So there is a big problem with this problem. So what is alternative situation there? That is the one is a fractal medicine, which is that VR, virtual reality, with the kind of a geometry that you create, a hyperbolic geometries. So geometry is a strangely related to our mind. I'm going to show you how that virtual reality, and then Dr. Chettipally showed in his video the moving in the video game. How does it connected and mentally connected? It is actually starts from the beauty itself. In the we consider people are more beautiful is the bilateral symmetries. If left side is equal to is almost perfectly looks similar to the right side. So if you take a Marilyn Monroe or Denzel Washington or Indian actress, Bollywood actress Aishwarya Roy, if you draw a line in between the eyebrows, they look left side looks similar to the right side. That we consider as the most beautiful. That's diamonds are perfect crystals. That's why they have the perfect symmetry. That's why more expensive, and we like them a lot. That's one of the reasons. So there is a obsessive compulsive disorder. The psychologists are now the research showing that it's not a behavioral disorder. It's actually the extreme need for the dimensions, extreme need for symmetry. If you go to I have a friend in Philadelphia. She is a perfect example of symmetry. She will kill me if I tell her name, but she puts everything in place. If you misplace just a small thing, and she's going to go nuts. So this kind of a OCD they call is not a behavioral disorder. It may be evolutionary, biological disorder, genetic disorder. It is a extreme need for symmetry. It came from our universe itself. It is connected to the very powerful laws of the universe. I will explain to you what that powerful laws of the universe are. So in even the symmetry is involved. They found out a lot of research. The sex people, women get more orgasms with the bodies, with a man with a symmetrical faces, symmetrical bodies. So that's what even the bees, honey bees, prefer radial symmetry of the flowers. They want to see the beauty in flowers, not the honey, just honey. They want to see the beauty in the flowers. That's a very interesting. Even the honey bees prefer beauty. So there is a fun there is these are all connected to the universal laws. Actually, I have a master's in physics. We study actual the laws of physics. Everybody thinks the laws of physics are the law of conservation of energy. For example, energy is neither created nor destroyed. But in fact, there is the laws behind that is are actually laws of symmetry. Is not the our cheat sheet. Those laws are that we use it as a physicist use it is a cheat sheets. Actually, the laws embedded in the nature itself. That's a laws of symmetry. Conservation of energy symmetry. For example, if you take a snowflake, you turn around. That's a rotational symmetry. It looks same. It doesn't change It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the looks or its value or anything. It doesn't change. So it's actually all the conservation came out of the cancellation symmetry. For example, if you see in the mirror, that's a reflective symmetry. That is a symmetry. It doesn't make any. It doesn't show. It is not the same thing as a symmetrical patterns or the laws are embedded in that one. And actually, energy laws are connected with the time. Suppose you throw a ball, it comes today into the earth. Tomorrow it doesn't change with the time. Tomorrow you can also throw the ball, it will come down tomorrow. So these are the laws are fundamental. And she was the woman who found out is Emmy Nathers. She's a German mathematician. She when she was PhD at the during the 1930s, they don't want her to be employed by the university. Her supervisor was a very famous mathematician, David Hilbert. He hired her, but a lot of these German politicians complained that you think the men from the war come back and touch a woman's feet to learn? That's what they said. Well, David Gilbert Hilbert said that very interesting comment. He said that a very popular comment among mathematicians. It said that you're not going to a bathhouse. This is a university. You come here to learn. That's what he said. That's a profound influence of Emmy and others. Then moved to United States. She invented these laws. Einstein said that she's a genius. Gave the meaning to the Einstein's laws. In fact, such laws of symmetry are such a fundamental in the universe. So If you see, brain has also fractals. The symmetry, it follows symmetry. Even a thought itself, a fundamentally symmetrical fractal symmetries it follows. You see the flowers and you see the, it may be following a Fibonacci sequence numbers, and the nature follows a fractal geometry. It's the nature follows the symmetrical laws. So in the I showed you the nature and video, high definition, standard TV differences. That's what the fractals are used in the employed in the Hollywood to show the fractals, actual feeling of the edges of the mountains and all the Star Trek. They used it in Star Trek too. So these are the fractals. They're fundamental. They look like a odd shape, but if you close and close look at it, every shape, it never stops that shape. You just keep on looking at that shape. You just keep repeating that shape. If you focus on that one, that shape, you keep coming back to that shape. That is a image within the image. That is what the fractals, self similarity they call. So that's Bisianabame in a French word. Fractals are always there. In the body itself, our nervous system is a fractals. The virus in the middle looks like a fractal geometry, and the coronavirus, coronaries in the heart actually looks like fractals. They all follow some fractal geometrical mathematical structures. That's very strange, but it does. So 5 minutes of a day, 25 minutes a day, like Dr. say that, without a DMT, without any substances, you can achieve. Let me bring Dr. Chettipally. Mandelbrot is the one who invented these fractals. So we sell the cups and the t-shirts. You can go to Daily Wear for Medicine or Ramana.com. You can find you can buy a coffee cup or t-shirt there, or any things that related to the Mandelbrot. But anyway, that is more important is that I'm going to bring my sponsor and that Dr. Chettipally back to the stage. Um, so let me, uh, Dr. Chettipally, that's what you're doing is an amazing. Um, uh, so that we are, as this scientific behind the science behind the VR is very powerful. That is what the somehow our mind is connected with the fractals, and then you're saying that you see that when you're doing the traveling through that, is your visual channels are occupied, and mental relaxation is coming automatic. Your hormones are, as you say, your relaxation hormones are going up, and the stress hormones are going down. That is the power of the VR. We are really not really. We need this mental health relaxation everywhere in the country. Is like a we remember the arcade stores. Do you agree with that? We need like arcade shops, that is a mental health relaxation centers. People like yours just put it there, and then run that and relax. They can come in the afternoon, or they come in the morning, relax a little bit and go home. They go to the gym for the physical exercise. What do you suggest to the mind relaxation? Explain, please. Let me give you the opportunity to say something.
So, one of the problems with video games is that kids and adults included, they engage in those games, right? And because there are triggers, like dopamine, serotonin. It triggers the release of those hormones. Those are feel good hormones. It is great, but the problem is that there is this full other side of the body that is not being activated or not being used. When I say body, it also means that there's a full side of the part of the brain, which is the motor cortex is not being utilized. And so, um, if you combine the two, the motor part and the sensory part is where you're getting visual, where you're hearing the sounds, where you're smelling, and where you're feeling the touch. And so what we try to do is in our system is that you're getting the visual from VR, so you're actually feel that you're seeing everything around and you're in this environment. You're hearing the sounds of nature, whether you're in a forest or near the ocean, you're hearing the nature sounds. And then you're smelling nature also, so we can actually have smells that resemble certain trees, certain smells of the certain trees in nature, in forests. And then you can feel the wind. So there's a fan that replicates. If you go faster on your machine, the wind will blow faster. And so your skin, your face, you feel that wind, right? And then you also feel your seat, where you're sitting on that seat. When the machine goes over a bump in the video game, your seat actually jumps. So that's the robotics part where it replicates that. So, in other words, all your five senses, except
That,
for taste, all your senses are occupied, and they are occupied in a different zone, right? We are taking them into a virtual zone. So that is what we call full immersion. So it's a fully immersive virtual experience. So you will not believe that you're in your room or in the office where the machine is. You will believe that you are in this virtual world, in a world where you're in a nice forest or near the beach or whatever.
I
Now,
agree no more. Yeah, I agree no more. That is actually five senses stimulation is the key to all the five senses are occupied, and then feeling that. Absolutely agree with you, and it is really important. It is important that that you that all five senses need to be occupied.
yeah.
That's a great innovation you came up with. I highly recommend that. Please go ahead. Yes, tell
and
me.
so and so that is the afferent part, where that's the sensory part where senses are coming into your body, right? Now, what about the things that go out of your body? And the things that go out of your body is motor. When the brain tells the arm to move, it moves, right? When the legs to move. And so we have to engage the motor side of it, which is how do you move to the stimulus. So you're seeing a bridge, you're seeing a path, and so you have to stay on the path. So you have to drive with your arms. And if you have to go faster or if you have to go uphill, you're pedaling, right? When you're pedaling, it will replicate the same scenario that is happening in the video game, which is if you're going uphill, it becomes harder. When you're going downhill, it becomes easier, and you go faster when it is going downhill. That means the wind blows on your face faster, more wind on your face. And so now this exercise machine is actually a robot. You're sitting on a robot. So it is tracking all your movements. So there are, every joint it is measuring how much it is moving. Every muscle it is tracking. How much effort are you putting in? Are you pushing hard enough? Are you And then it is also tracking how quickly you're responding to the stimulus. Say suddenly you see a rock in the path, how are you trying to avoid that rock, right? How quick is your response? And so those are all being tracked, from the body through the machine, and thousands of data points are being collected. And so as you get better and better, you can use machine learning to understand how you're responding and where you're getting the best benefit of that treatment. So you take your outcomes, so you're tracking the responses and how that those responses will change your outcomes. Say whether it is, you know, decrease in anxiety, whether your sleep is better, whether your activities or your behavior is much more calmer, whether you're focusing better, and all of those we can track because these are tracked outside of this virtual environment. So we have all the data that is coming from this environment, but and also we have the clinical data on how the patient is doing outside of this treatment environment. And so, in a way, since each patient is different, you can actually fine tune the treatment to a particular patient. So In other words, if they're having difficulty in turning, the machine will make it easier for them to turn. If they're having difficulty pushing hard because they lack muscle mass, it'll make it easier on them. And then it'll gradually push them to a higher level. Now, if you sit on this machine for 10 minutes, you start sweating and you don't even know that you're working out because your mind is so occupied on this task in front of you because you're trying to follow this task, which is follow the path and avoid falling off the track. Because when you fall off the track and hit a rock, your machine will give you a big jolt, and you don't like that. And so you have to stay on the track. And so it's this cycle of where you're learning new things and learning a new skill, and also you're triggering those good hormones, decreasing your bad hormones. All that translates to decrease in symptoms, and that is our hypothesis. I have to say, I mean, there is enough research individually on all these elements, but nobody actually combined all these technologies together to make it into a treatment plan. And that's what
That's
we're
what
trying to
I,
do.
I gave you the presentation. What do you think of the presentation? Connected the actual science behind it, why we get the stimulations from those kind of seeing those visual.
Yeah,
You saw the presentation, right?
yeah. I would love to, see the clinical data that comes out of it. How do patients feel? What are the responses, and how does that improve outcomes? That'll be great if it can show that.
That's what everybody's working on it, right? Around the country, that everybody, pain management people. So can
Exactly.
you think in the pain management side and the orthopedic surgeons, when they have a trauma, the orthopedic, can they use these kind of things? You think it
Oh
will
yeah.
help a lot
Oh,
better than before? They're giving just a physical rehabilitation. Is they need to include the mental rehabilitation along with it? It would add up the better results, right? Better outcomes, right?
exactly. Because a lot of it is, for example, going to the gym, right? Most people don't like to go to the gym. Yeah, although you know that you should and you should exercise, most people don't want to do that. It takes a lot of mental power to be able to go regularly. What if going to the gym was fun? You made it fun into a game. Oh, I go to the gym to play video games.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. I would like to go and do that. And that's why we say making therapy fun.
Yeah, it's
That's
a mass. That's a mass mental health relaxation idea you came up with. That's idea. Not only mental health relaxation, it's a physical health relaxation. Combine them together. But
because
also there is a clinical significance there, right? Clinical significance there. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Clinical significance is that an orthopedic centers, or pain clinics, they could use that benefit. I think, I don't know the reimbursement structure on it. They could use the part of the rehabilitation, part of the process, that and they can get a reimbursable. I don't know about it. Do you know anything about it?
yeah. So it can be used for stroke rehabilitation. It can be used for head injury rehabilitation. It can be used post-operatively. It can be used in sports medicine. It can be used for pain. It can be used for degenerative disorders. It can be used for, of course, neurodevelopmental disorders. Hopefully, we can move the trajectory of these bad outcomes and make it better with these kinds of technologies. And that's our hope, and that's our passion to
Yeah.
make it happen.
We're
So
all helping in that direction. Our job is to put together all those ideas together, and we ought to be a mainstream. Everybody gets benefit out of it if it becomes a mainstream. Let me bring a Steve. Steve, are you there? And let me bring the sponsor of the organization. Is gone. I seen him before, but he's not here anymore. So maybe he's missing, but I hope he's coming back. Dr. Chettipally, is a truly honor. Your idea is that absolutely. I was in Las Vegas one time. I saw there's a Mars landing there with this thing. They put a fan on me. They did all those things. It is an amazing experience. 5 minutes of experience. It is just changed my mind for good.
Yeah.
The psilocybin, they're saying one dose of administration, psilocybin, actually VR has the same effect it can do.
Yep.
That I don't know, I never took drugs, but the psilocybin effect, you can simulate that
Can
experience
recreate that.
with VR, virtual reality, and then maybe you can follow that up with the neurofeedback on the top of it. A brain training program, it will actually seal that merge that the problem between, without using the substances at all. You can bring that back, and I think you're on to something, Dr. Chettipally. I think this is a good. Uh, a lot of people go to gym and they see people watching videos they watch while they exercise, but you're saying that is that is not really effective mentally. It's just exercising. This one will affect mentally, and it takes a lot of biomarkers. It will keep copying the biomarkers and tell you how you're improving. It's a very valuable instrument to put in the gyms and even orthopedics and the pain management clinics.
There's
You know,
lot of
a lot of
use
usages.
cases.
I agree with you. Wish you all the best. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's an honor for me to interview. He's a fellow Telugu man. It is truly
Yeah.
an honor, sir. I wish you all the best. I think. What is your website? Can you give us a website
Sure.
information?
We're just starting the website. It's called siricatherapeutics.com. But the best way to reach me is through LinkedIn, Yuli Chettipally, Yuli K. Chettipally. And yeah, I would love to speak with people who can help me, you know, uh, progress this idea further, especially partners or potential customers, and especially investors, angel investors that I'm looking for.